start fresh. So I'm thinking tomorrow is when ChatGPT and I will produce a draft, or maybe tomorrow I'll be focused on my office, and then Tuesday. No, let's go ahead and do this essay while it's fresh tomorrow. Okay, so I've scrolled too far back, but this is also relevant. So I had before today, ChatGPT put together 10. Yeah, these are not bad. I haven't read all of them, but 10 like short arguments for the fact that soul consciousness is not real, or that the soul is biological. Okay, so here's what she gave. 1, the alcohol argument. Premise: alcohol changes perception, emotion, and decision making. Conclusion: therefore, what we call mind depends on the brain's physical state, because altering the brain alters the mind. 2, injury argument. Premise: brain injuries can erase memories, change personality, or destroy language. Conclusion: the self is biological. Its continuity lives in neural tissue. 3, stimulation argument. Premise: electrically stimulating certain brain regions can make you feel joy, fear, or deja vu. Conclusion: mental states are not floating essences, they're activations of matter. 4, sleep argument. Premise: consciousness disappears when neural activity drops below a certain threshold. In sleep, anesthesia, coma. Conclusion: awareness is what a sufficiently active brain does, not what it hosts. 5, drug argument. Premise: medications and drugs can ease depression, dull pain, or heighten focus. Conclusion: psychological change through chemical change shows the mind's chemistry is its mechanism. Shows the mind's chemistry is its mechanism. 6, development argument. Premise: infants gain awareness as their brains develop new connections. There's not like a little sudden soul that like gets injected and they're like fully sentient beings just waiting for their organs to develop. Conclusion: mind emerges with biological complexity. It's grown, not granted. 7, evolution argument. Premise: other animals show partial forms of memory, planning, and empathy. Conclusion: consciousness lies on a biological spectrum, not in a supernatural category. 8, what the fuck? It says I have 20 people looking. That is the highest I've ever seen. That's crazy. I don't know how to read anymore. Am I drooling right now? 8, machine lesion mapping argument. Premise: neuroscientists can predict mental deficits by the precise brain area damaged. Conclusion: the map between brain and mind is systematic because they are one system. 9, split brain argument. Premise: when the corpus callosum is cut, 2 centers of awareness appear in one skull. Conclusion: you are a network, not a spirit. Divide the network, divide the self. 10, no ghost argument. Premise: there is no empirical evidence for a separate mental substance, and every observed mental change has a neural correlate. Conclusion: the simplest, most predictive model is that mind is the brain. So I had her do that. So that's great. Okay, now moving to today and getting ready for tomorrow's essay, and I'll be online as I work on that. So basically, I've been very frustrated reading a book from 2013, and I've been frustrated about this before, but it's been especially annoying in this book. We've been reading Blind Spot by Banaji and Greenwald. Banaji, I have a video about her essay, Our Bounded Rationality, and Greenwald did the implicit bias test, the implicit association test. So they wrote a book together, Blind Spot, the hidden biases of good people. But they keep talking about the 2 systems of mind. They don't really even use system 1, system 2. They keep talking about We keep referring to system 2 as the conscious reflective mind and system 1 is the automatic mind, which is very annoying because I don't think you need to talk about consciousness for higher order processes. I think that we can sort of experience those lower automatic functions, and we can, but although we're more likely to experience the slower reflective processes. So I asked ChatGPT, what are some alternatives? Oh, right, because in the thing, in the book in Blind Spot, they keep talking about our racist attitudes, that most people have racist attitudes, and then there's only a fraction of people who their reflective mind consciously endorses the attitudes. And I don't think that's meaningful. I think all processes are automatic, and I think that awareness of the process is irrelevant to classifying the process. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT, what are some alternatives to consciously endorse? Mazarine and Tony, those are their first names, talk about the conscious reflective mind versus automatic associations and preferences. They talk about survey responses versus IAT results. Because if you ask people, hey, is interracial marriage okay? The reflective mind will say, yeah, and then you give them an implicit association test, and you'll find out the rest of their mind does not agree. So they talk about survey responses versus IAT results. I reject that there are conscious processes, except in the sense that there are processes or results of processes that are experienced by the processor. Is this distinction at all meaningful to you? Can you help me articulate it? And how else can we refer to the difference between sort of the mind producing survey responses and the mind producing the IAT results? My instinct is to refer to the former as verbal rather than conscious. See, one way to think of the difference between the it that answers a question about the system's values and the it that produces behavior according to the system's values is that the former involved more social its that weren't involved in the latter. When we have to talk about our thoughts, when we have to verbally represent ourselves, the activity is different from when we just have to produce a behavioral reaction to a situation. So in the former case, our self-reports get modified by our knowledge about social expectation, which plays less of a role in the latter case. Okay, so she says the distinction makes sense, reasoning's fine. So on the phrase consciously endorse, you're right that consciously smuggles in a metaphysical layer as if there were a separate awareness process distinct from all other processes. And what I was saying when I was at the dog park is some stuff she says in this response I don't quite align with. I think she misunderstood me. And so that's gonna come up again in a moment. You want language that describes which its are activated, what modalities they use, and what social constraints they operate under without implying a separate faculty of consciousness. Again, maybe it is useful to talk about a separate faculty of awareness. It's just not useful to say that awareness is a decision-making faculty. It's just awareness. It's not decision making, it's not action, it's not choice, it's only awareness. Yeah. Here are some alternatives to consciously endorse that preserve Mazarine and Tony's intended contrast, explicit self-report versus implicit associative pattern, but fit in your framework. So she talks about verbally endorse, socially filtered affirm, blah, blah, blah. So you could say, for example, survey responses reflect verbal or declarative knowledge, while the IAT taps thank you. Hello. Taps behavioral associations among values. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not thinking about that. Got distracted by the comment. 2, articulating your distinction. You said I reject that there are conscious processes, except in the sense that there are processes or results of processes that are experienced by the processor. That's beautifully precise. And yes, it's meaningful. You're distinguishing between type of process theories, which treat consciousness as this kind of special computation. Maybe true, I don't know. And access or experience theories, which treat consciousness as a tag on certain outputs. And I don't actually know which one I think is true. But anyway, your formulation fits the second. All processes are physical and automatic. Great. Conscious merely describes those whose products enter systems capable